Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As you can see by the title of today's video, ranking all the playmaking badges and tiers in NBA 2K22 Next Gen for Season 3. So I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all good stuff, and like always, tries 1 to 1,000 likes. So for anyone that's new to this series, the text color is going to indicate what I had for the ranking in Season 2. So Triple Threat Juke was originally in the F tier, Stop and Go, I know it sounds crazy, was in the E tier. We'll talk about all this stuff, but as you can see, blue correlates with D, green correlates with C, you guys get the deal. So if you're new to the channel, I hope you guys enjoy the video. If you are a recurring sub, I do appreciate you guys watching as well. And without further ado, we're gonna get straight into this. Alright, so our first badge on the list is gonna be Triple Threat Juke, moving from the F tier to the E tier. Now, I made a video 2 days ago showcasing a new Triple Threat move. It's really interesting if you guys want to check that out. It's more so for 2v2 though, but either way. Triple Threat Juke though, it's not really the most effective, the most efficient. Honestly, Triple Threat just in general is a pretty extinct style. I am trying to kind of bring it back with that video that I showcased. But anyway, to keep things short with Triple Threat Juke, I don't think Triple Threat is really a viable style in this game in the first place. And then on top of that, I think this badge only caters to people that really have a non-shooting build, and you don't see too many of those in this game. So long story short, I think Triple Threat Juke is probably the worst playmaking badge in the game, but we're going to leave it in the E tier because it's not a completely useless badge, and I do apologize for putting that in the F tier. Next up, speaking of badges that I want to apologize for, we have Stop and Go moving from the E tier to the B tier. Now, this is quite a jump, 3 stages in the tier list, and I gotta say, more of this was just me kind of looking at my own guards and seeing them function without Stop and Go, so I just figured it wasn't actually a very useful badge. I still think you can get away with this, to be completely honest with you guys, but I have seen firsthand, for doing more so like left stick movements and stuff like that, Stop and Go is big time. I understand some people do play that way, and then on top of that too, for the quick stops, moving out of the quick stops when you stop, obviously it helps you go as well. Now, I don't think this helps you like quick stop any faster by any means. I think it just makes you can go out of the quick stops better. But again, it's not like Stop and Go is out here just helping you go off the first like burst of speed. That's obviously what quick first step is for. Stop and Go, it clearly has no impact on that at all. But I do think off the quick stops, for you to chain out of it and kind of just move faster after the quick stop is definitely a big thing. And I will say I do see what you guys were talking about a little bit with Stop and Go. I think it's more relevant after patch 2, now that people can't just go super left and right with it. But anyway, moving along, we have Special Delivery in the D tier. This is going to be kind of a badge that's more so just for a certain play style. If you guys like to throw lobs as a point guard to your bigs or your corner cutters, wing cutters, whatever the case may be, if you're playing park, pro-am, stage, whatever the case is, it doesn't happen in stage, let's be real. But anyway, Special Delivery obviously helps you throw lobs. It also will give a shot boost off of throwing a flashy pass. I will say this badge is a little bit lower on the list than someone who actually utilizes the badge to its best ability, but it's just, it doesn't fit the meta very much. I'm gonna just put it like that. But you really don't need that much help throwing lobs in this game. And then on top of that too, if you equip Special Delivery, it unlocks throwing lobs off the ground for like bounce pass alley-oops, which slows down the lob entirely. I really would hate that as a big man to be catching stuff like that. It's cool, it's entertaining, but from a competitive aspect, it kind of stops you from doing what you would want to do as quick as you would want to do it and as clean as you would want to do it too. So it kind of is a negative badge at the same time too. It does, like I said, still help you throw lobs, and your teammates will hit flashy passes better, as in if you throw flashy pass to them, they receive a shot boost. So overall, it's a cool badge to play around with, but I definitely think it's still bottom of the barrel in terms of your badges for the playmaking category. So we have it at the D tier. Alright, next up we have Downhill, moving from the D tier to the C tier, going up 1 stage. This is going to be tied to either you grabbing the rebound and going coast to coast with it, or if your big man grabs the rebound and passes to you, or just any situation that you're on a fast break, it's going to help you move faster with the ball in your hands. Now, it's not a super comp badge if you ask me. It's more so for Pro-Am. You guys obviously know that to an extent though, and when it comes to Park 3v3, you don't really need to grab the ball and go coast to coast with it too often as a big man, or on top of that too, if you're a guard and you get the ball, like your big man grabs the rebound and passes it to you, you're probably at the point where you're probably scoring anyway. You don't really need to have much of a speed boost. The court isn't that big, there's not a lot of space to go. By the time you catch that outlet pass, you probably are already right where you need to be for the score, or to just take a couple dribbles and fade to the corner or something like that, or you just don't have the shot and you set up for a half court offense. But overall, I think Downhill is still way better than the 2 badges below it. It's probably bottom of the C tier though, to be completely honest with you guys. Alright, next up we have Ankle Breaker. This is going to be staying in the C tier where I had it originally in Season 2. I feel like it's not super dominant in terms of how you used to see it back in 2K17. Even 2K21 current gen, it was really elite as well. And overall, it's just not really good at creating ankle breakers. I think you have something that's going to deal with ball handling a whole lot better on this tier list. That's going to be really high. Not to name any names, but we have something at the very top right here. But anyway, I don't think Ankle Breaker is really competitive to an extent, and on top of that too, it's just a lot of badge points to be using for something that you have to dribble in a very specific way. You have to be doing dribble moves that actually attempt to break ankles. So for instance, the flick downs where you're moving to the left and you flick it down and right to the right stick, or just snatchbacks in general or anything like that. Maybe some step backs, but honestly it doesn't even function that well on those. But overall, I don't think ankle breaker is really a super elite badge, but I will say it's probably like middle or top of the C tier. It's definitely not better than most of the B tier badges though. So next up we have post playmaker staying in the C tier as well. This is a really good badge for bigs to be running. Obviously if you grab an offensive rebound and kick it out to a teammate, this is what activates instead of dimer. Shout out to 2K Toots for that test right there. But overall, it's a very good badge for bigs, but it's very specific to that aspect. And then on top of that too, I would really rather, if I had to pick between two of them, even as a big man, I would rather have dimer than this one particularly. But I understand in those situations that you do grab offensive rebounds and kick out to your teammates, it doesn't activate dimer. You have to have post playmaker to have that. So ideally as a big man, if you want to see your teammates having their shot boost, you want to have both these badges, post playmaker and dimer on. Now, again, we'll talk about dimer a little bit. You can see it's a little bit up the list, but for a big man, I'd probably put these more so sort of on the same level. Like for a center, you probably have dimer at B tier rather than A as a guard. But on top of that too, obviously post playmaker has a second ability where if you have the ball in the post or anywhere inside the 3-point line and holding LT and doing that post up, it's going to be activating anytime you do that. Now, if you're past the 3-point line and holding LT though, it's going to be dimer. It's just, long story short, it's tied to the post or offensive rebound kickouts. And as you're going to see, a trend that stays true is we have another badge staying in the C tier. I hate to, be so boring with this and not move anything anywhere, but these tier lists are true to form. I mean, if I feel this way about the badge, I'm going to keep it in the area as long as I think it still belongs there. So with break starter, once again, I have this as a C tier. Now, the thing is with these tier lists, they're so taken out of context sometimes. I want you guys to understand that with post playmaker and break starter, if you're playing at the center position in Pro-Am or Rec, you obviously want these at a super high level. I mean, it's going to be pretty often that you're in those areas where you're grabbing offensive rebounds, kicking out to your teammates, or you're on the break where you grab a defensive rebound, boom, you're launching it to your teammate across half court, or like literally all the way down court, and you need this badge at a high level. But for the sake of park and all types of stuff like that, just all things considered, 2s, 3s, Pro-Am, collecting all that together and putting it into this one tier list, I gotta say, I think break starter is more so a C tier badge. But if you're talking strictly Pro-Am, it's probably more so a B. And if you're talking strictly the 5s in Pro-Am, it's probably an A tier badge, honestly. But it's rare in these playmaking badge tier lists that we're talking about centers. So it's a little bit tough, but obviously break starter and post playmaker are more so tied to big men. So it's a little bit hard to make these lists sometimes and contextualize them in the right areas and right ways and stuff. But overall, I just do think break starter is more so a C tier badge. You grab the boards, you chuck it deep. I don't really feel like it's make or break. People have to have their glue hands still to be able to get really clean catches on it. It will make it so you don't throw them out of bounds as often, and it will put it on target a little bit more, but I don't think it's a make or break badge. Even as a big man, I'd rather have bullet passer than break starter if you had to make me pick between two of them. And with that considered, I just think break starter is definitely not even close to the same level as bullet passer, because once again, bullet passer does tie into point guards, locks, and bigs, and break starter only ties into really just big men just in general. All right, so here I go being even more boring, keeping floor general in the B tier. I just feel like overall, like I said, I don't want to flex these badge tier lists anyway out of context of how I really feel about them, just to make things interesting. So I'm leaving these in the area that I feel like they belong if that's the case. If you want to see some changed up badge tier lists, I will say the finishing and defense saw a lot of difference, but we're going to have a couple in this top tier that definitely make some moves. But anyway, floor general, I just feel like it's a must-have badge for someone on the court. It doesn't have to be very many people though. It really can be your center if he has good pass accuracy, because now pass accuracy is what is tied to floor general. So if you're someone who comes out here with like 86 pass accuracy or 88 in that situation, you can have gold floor general, and then boom, just like that, you as the big man are helping your guard and your lockdown boost their 3-point rating, ball handle rating, all types of stuff like that by 3. And if you're talking Pro-Am, someone has to be running this. I myself, as the 5 who is an inside, am running this myself just so my lockdowns in the corners have the 3-pointer boosted, my point guard and my secondary ball handler have their ball handle and 3-point rating boosted. Overall, it's just a good thing for someone on the court to have. It's a very must-have badge, but only one person out of 3 need it on 3v3, and only one person out of 5 need it on 5v5. So it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be in the A or S tier, because not everybody needs it, but somebody needs to. So if you're that guy, then obviously you really want that, and it is what it is. All right, next up we have Hyperdrive, moving from the B tier to the A tier. Here's the thing, I even thought pretty heavily on putting this in the S tier, because I feel like with this new update of Season 3 and just the left-right cheese patch and stuff like that, you need to do a lot of your dribble moves moving downhill first. So I had thoughts of putting in the S tier, but the more I thought about it and I compared it to things like Unpluckable, quick first step, handles for days, tight handles, bullet passer, more so everything besides tight handles of these S tier badges, it really doesn't look like it belongs, if you ask me. I think it's definitely an A tier badge. It's really, really good A tier badge, and you need it to be able to dribble in this game because, once again, all your dribble moves start with moving forward and then kind of curving it out horizontally after that. You can't just be running left, right, super wide to the left or super wide to the right or backwards anymore after this patch. So everything kind of runs through hyperdrive a little bit in a sense. So just understand, I think this badge is really good. It's probably toward the top of the S tier, but there are way too many S tier badges and I don't think this one competes with them. So we're gonna have hyperdrive at the top of the A tier. But last thing, just for anybody who didn't exactly know how this badge functions and you're clicking on this video trying to look for some information, hyperdrive is any dribble move that is moving downhill is going to receive a nice speed boost. So pretty much if you're doing a behind the back moving downhill or you're doing a crossover moving downhill, it all functions into that. Now, in terms of the standstill dribble moves, like even signature size ups, like doing the D-Rose signature size up crossover, it's going to still work for that too. You just have to be moving downhill while doing it. So you can be going from a standstill position as long as your first step is moving very forward while doing it, then you can curve it off after that. You will get that speed boost. But overall, hyperdrive, once again, A tier badge, moving up from B to A. All right, next up we have Needle Threader staying in the B tier. I feel like this is a pretty like glue badge. You know, it's something that is going to stay here for a while most likely. I don't ever see this changing, and with how much it's needed in terms of how good Interceptor is in this game, I think it's definitely something that's really good. It's just the ability of Needle Threader isn't amazing. Now, it prevents those body bumps where you pass it and someone just on-ball passing lanes it, like where they're right like 2 feet away from you and then boom, they just flare their hands up and tip it. Or on top of that too, it seems like it makes more interceptions turn into tip passes. That's how I feel about it personally. Now, for people who run this at a high level, for instance, Bear the Beast, top point guard out there, he has a YouTube channel as well now. He's in the 2K league, really cool dude as well. But he vouches for this really, really hard. I've seen my own point guards try and use different levels of this too, and I feel like the higher you can run this, the better it becomes in terms of avoiding passing lane steals, avoiding people tipping your passes on ball and stuff like that. Overall, just the random body bumps of your player just throwing it really stupid right at somebody's head too. I feel like all of that comes into play. Overall, I don't want to gas this badge up too much. If it was really, really good at avoiding interceptions and it just made it so you can really like throw a lot of questionable passes, this would probably be an S tier badge, to be honest with you guys, because passing lanes do go really crazy in this game. Interceptor is probably the #1 defensive badge in the game, and then like things like chase down artist are pretty good too, but Interceptor is definitely like #1 defensive badge in the game. It might even be up there in terms of like the best badges in the game just in general. But if this worked super, super well, I would say this is more so an A or S tier badge because of its necessity, but it's not elite at what you want it to do. So that's why I have Needle Threader in the B tier, staying where it belongs. All right, once again, we have Bailout staying in the B tier. We're not going to talk too much on this stuff anymore. I know you guys are kind of disappointed probably with the badges all staying in the same area that they belong, in my opinion, but Bailout, it kind of varies, right? So there are times where even in Pro-Am, I've seen point guards go up with a shot and the big man by instinct drops early for the rebound because you need to get there for position for the box out. Now, you could take advantage of that super, super big time and run openness, combine that with Bailout, then boom, you go up for the shot, the big man will cheat down, you could just tap A button as you cancel out of your shot, and then boom, just like that, you're passing it to the dude who's like at center, dropping down, and just like that, you look like you're an absolute god when it's really you just tap an A button out of a Bailout pass. So I feel like Bailout actually is really, really good when you use it the right way, but there's not a lot of guards out here who really cater their style to this and just intentionally do stuff like that. More so, this is just kind of something to patch you up in terms of helping you, you know, no pun intended, but bail you out in terms of like going up for bad shots and then boom, you just try and get rid of it. Or for driving guards now, if you are trying to go up with a dunk and the big man absolutely is looking like he's going to get a crazy animation on you, can spam your A button to anybody, again, with openness. It's really cheese. Bailout plus openness equals cheese things just happening constantly. But Bailout is good in a sense. I don't think it's A tier badge level, but it's definitely really high up here in the B, and if you use it the right way, it probably could be A. All right, next up we have our final C tier badge. We have Space Creator moving down from the B to the C. I feel like this style I thought was going to have a really, really good increase in terms of Circus 3s received and buff, where it actually works for step back jumpers and fadeaways now too. It didn't work for fadeaways originally, and I felt like that was just going to bring more people to the crowd of like Space Creator type stuff. But really what it did is it made it so people aren't even doing stuff like that anymore because Circus 3s no longer requires you to take step back jumpers or hop jumpers. It's just, it helps you fade now. So more people are just fading instead of doing step back or hop back jumpers. So overall, Space Creator didn't really see the increase of utility that I thought I would see in the community. And it's still very good at breaking people as well, but not many people do it. And it really takes a very specific style of person to do it. On top of that, so you kind of have to spam this to really make it work, and it doesn't really like drop people to the floor. I feel like it more so just stuns them. Hey, there are some times though that I'm not gonna lie, this actually is a little bit better than ankle breaker at doing what you want it to do. So honestly, take it with a grain of salt when I put it in the C tier. It could be in the B if you use it the right way, but I just feel like I don't run into many people at all who use this. Put in the comments down below if you're someone who actually uses Space Creator and you do circus threes, type 3-pointers, and like mid-range and stuff like that. I know that's more so difficult shots, but either way, let me know if you're someone who does a lot of the Ty C-Nos type stuff. Alright, so next up we have Glue Hands staying in the A tier. This is going to be tailored to all types of builds and all types of playstyles. So, especially for the corner spot ups and the pick and rollers out there, you absolutely want this badge at the highest level you can get it. For the pick and rollers, it's going to be a little bit tougher because it's tied to ball handle. Same with the locks even too. I know some locks don't even have that great a ball handle either. So, it's something that's tough to have on a lot of the builds that it fits the best, but overall, the highest level you can put this at, if you're an off-ball player, it's really, really useful. If you're a point guard as well, I would definitely recommend running this at least like bronze or silver. But overall, you can't knock Glue Hands at all. I think this belongs in the A tier 100%. If you're talking for lockdowns and stuff like that too, or even bigs, I gotta say this badge is probably an S tier. Like, it's probably the best playmaking badge you can run as a lock or a big, besides maybe Quick First Step and Bullet Passer. It's really as simple as that, right? Other than that, you'd say maybe things like Unpluckable and Dimer. But realistically, Glue Hands and Quick First Step are the must-have badges you would have as a lockdown and a big man. And for the guards, it's still not even useless, so we wanted to involve this at probably like the A tier. Alright, so next up we have a badge moving from the A tier to the S tier. We have Quick Chain. So this right here, in my opinion, sees an uptick in the usefulness because people actually have to dribble now. You don't just be able to, do one move, go to the left, do one move, go to the right, and just call it a day. Now you have to combo things up together. You have to be able to get yourself open with multiple different dribble moves, and the highest level you can run Quick Chain on, the better it is. And I gotta say, the difference between Hall of Fame and Gold looks ridiculous in terms of the guards. I see my own guard and my secondary ball handler in terms of how fast they can chain things together, and it does look pretty ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. Like, to have Hall of Fame Quick Chain is a must-have for point guards, if you ask me. But overall, it's a pretty self-explanatory badge. It's good at chaining moves together. It's literally as simple as that, and it makes it happen faster. So honestly, really good badge, and it's really useful in terms of the new dribble style, how people actually have to dribble to get themselves open rather than just sprint to the left, sprint to the right. Simple as that. All right, next up we have Dimer staying in the A tier as well. I think this is a pretty solid badge. Like, overall, Dimer, it really embodies the A tier badge. Like, it's never going to be something that's in the S tier unless it really, really boosts your shot in terms of you helping your teammates do that. And it's never going to be super low unless, I mean, it sounds corny, right? Like, oh, if the badge is really good, it's going to be high. If the badge is really bad, it's going to be low. But honestly, I don't see Dimer ever going out of style and being less than a B tier badge, and I don't see it ever really eclipsing that S tier. But it definitely is something that you think of in terms of the A tier badges, where it helps your teammates hit your shots. It's a little bit hard to afford sometimes if you're a point guard, and some people just skip out on it entirely in terms of helping them dribble more for things like stop and go, ankle breaker, space creator, all types of stuff like that, and they think their spot up should just be able to hit every shot they take. So it kind of depends on the person who wants to use this. Some people might really not value it at all. Some people might value it a lot in terms of helping their teammates if they're the best player on their team and they want to help their bad teammates. So overall, you guys get the deal. Dimer is obviously going to help your teammates hit their shots. I don't think that requires much explanation, but I think it definitely belongs in the A tier. Let me know what you guys think in terms of any of these badges that you would disagree with. Alright, now let's be real here. I'm going to do something I've never done in any tier list video. It's really crazy, and I've never had the situation where every S tier badge just stays in the S tier, but let's be realistic, man. I mean, all of these badges literally just belong in the S tier. Unpluckable, bullet passer, tight handles, quick first step, and handles for days. It's really crazy, honestly, when you look at all this, and then you realize how overpowered offense was before this left-right patch, where you have literally 6 S tier badges in this game. Quick chain, handles for days, tight handles, bullet passer, unpluckable, quick first step. Now, this may be me being like, my own opinion. Some people might not agree with this, but I definitely think must-have badges, like for sure S tiers, are handles for days, unpluckable, quick first step, and bullet passer. Tight handles is maybe something that you could argue could be A tier. Quick chain is something you could maybe argue could be A tier. But even at that, if you want to move them to the A, you have literally, for point guards, Hyperdrive, Dimer, and then all 6 of these badges right here that are in the S tier. So you have 8 elite badges for PGs that absolutely help them do everything they want to in terms of dribbling the ball or helping like pass to their teammates and stuff like that. So anyway, one by one to talk about all of them. Sorry if that was anticlimactic. Now I'm just going to sit here and explain everything and there's nothing to reveal, but we're going to make this pretty quick. So Unpluckable clearly helps you stop yourself from getting plucked. This is good for bigs, good for locks, especially good for guards. I have a big man that has silver Unpluckable. I will say it is beautiful the way I like stop getting ripped so much in terms of just walking the ball down or running the ball down, where It also is tied to ball handle, obviously. So unpluckable and ball handle kind of go hand in hand. It's kind of clear. You need 99 ball handle to have Hall of Fame unpluckable too, and I think that's the level that you see. Like, you literally do not lose the ball unless it's a bump steal. On top of that too, pickpocket getting nerfed into the ground definitely helped unpluckable in the sense of, you know, really showing that you don't get ripped. Now, when the pluck steals were super crazy with the pickpocket, I feel like unpluckable was so necessary and it was so important to have it on Hall of Fame. Now, it kind of just shows that it's really good for having it on Hall of Fame, but it's not as much of a necessary, super important badge, but you still need it and still want it at the highest level you can get it if you're a point guard. Now for quick first step, clearly, I mean, this is so obvious. This is probably the best playmaking badge in the game, honestly. I feel like bullet pass is the most needed one, but quick first step is definitely the most shown. I mean, you cannot dribble the ball if you don't have quick first step on Hall of Fame in this game as a PG. If you have it on gold, it's pretty good, but you're never going to work like screens and pick and roll game with gold, and especially not like silver or bronze. Now, if you're a big man and you have it on like bronze or silver, it's your saving grace. I mean, me as my 7-footer, I have bronze quick first step and I move tremendously good off of it compared to my 7'3", but again, now it's more so tied to speed with ball if you're making that comparison. So again, this goes hand in hand with speed with ball, this goes hand in hand with ball handle. They're the two golden standards for both those attribute ratings tying in with that badge. Now for handles for days, this is more so only PGs. It's not like, you know, unpluckable and quick first step are for locks and bigs as well. At the highest level you can get it. It's probably only like bronze or silver, but it still is a level of it. Now for handles for days, you don't really need this unless you're a PG, but obviously this still helps you literally dribble the air out of the ball. I mean, it's really stupid if you ask me how long these dudes can dribble around for, and I understand, you know, it'd be a really bad game if PGs were just running out of stamina in like 5 seconds. I'm not expecting that, but if you've been dribbling for like 15 seconds and you're still like halfway in your stamina bar, that's pretty crazy to me. I feel like some of these people should be having to pass the ball a little bit faster or sooner than what they have to do in the shot clock, but it is what it is. Either way, this is the game we play, and it's not that bad either. I gotta say, big props to 2K22 for this update because it really has made the game enjoyable and fun to play. Even after the little slight buff that they gave to speed boosting after the super hard hit that they did to it, it really feels really balanced in this game now, if you ask me. So now, to talk about tight handles, this is just something that's going to stun you if you don't have any defensive badge to counter it. I think ankle brace is a really good stun counter to this where it stops you from getting stunned so much, but overall tight handles is still really elite at doing so, and it really is going to be paired with quick chain a little bit to where the more dribble moves that you're doing that can stun people, the better. And again, overall, you combine quick chain with tight handles and unpluckable, it's like a combo of 3 things that make it hard for them to rip you. You can do more dribble moves that are harder to rip, and then as you do more dribble moves, it's more things that could stun the opponent. And then you have quick first step after you stun them to get open on the 3-point line. And then if they send a double team at you or something like that, boom, bullet passer. So we haven't talked about bullet passer yet. It's pretty obvious though. It speeds up and accelerates your passes that you make, more quote unquote velocity on the pass. Either way, it just speeds up the pass and makes it harder to intercept, and it gets to your end destination a whole lot faster. So anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. And like always, try to 1,000 likes. If you made it to the end of the video, put play in the comments or put your favorite badge in terms of the playmaking in the comments as well. And again, feel free to leave any feedback in the comments if you want to give any difference in opinions or you think I got something wrong. Feel free to let me know. I'm all for the feedback. Just be respectful in the comments and all types of stuff like that. I like to have the good, respectful debates, but I feel like a lot of times this stuff turns really toxic. So I just kind of stay away from it if it really is looking toxic. But anyway, that's all for the video. Like I said, if you made it to the end of the video, put your favorite badge in the comments to show your support you made it to this point. But other than that, I hope you all enjoyed. If you want to check the finishing or defensive badge tier lists out for season 3, I've already uploaded those. I will be doing the shooting pretty soon, probably hopefully in like 2 days. I don't want to be doing these every single day. I'd rather be doing it every other day. I think we're going to be doing back-to-back on this and the finishing one though, because it just ended up being a little bit of a content crunch. I got the combine going on. Maybe right now, if I'm not sure when I'm going to upload this video, it may be on literally Monday, December 13th, or it might be on Tuesday, December 14th. But if it is on Monday, if you're watching this right now, I might be live during the 2K League Combine. Your boy is out here trying to make it to the league, and they gave me an invite to the Combine. I can at least show out and see if I can play. And at that point, then after that, I just got to keep playing more Pro-Am, and, you know, we'll see where it goes from there. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. And on that, take it easy, man. Peace.